Thanks for joining us about notification. Ohio is a notification state. This means we do not ask permission to homeschool and we are not granted approval. We don't notify our district superintendent that we are homeschooling, and they provide us with an excusal from compulsory education for the school year. Compulsory education is from ages 6 to 18. If your child is age 6 on the first day of school in your district, you must notify. If they turn 6 the day after school starts, you don't need to notify until the next year. You do need to watch start dates for your district because a lot of districts are moving them forward a week or a couple weeks. Grade levels are irrelevant in homeschooling, so you can start teaching your child whenever they're ready. You don't have to wait until they're 6 to start kindergarten. Notifications are due within 1 week of the first day of school in the building in which your child would attend if they were enrolled. Because this is so confusing, because a lot of schools have different, a lot of districts have different schools on different grade levels with different start dates, we recommend that you notify within the first week of August. If you have not yet made a decision on what form of school you're going to be using, you need to notify as soon as you decide if you're going to be homeschooling. If you use an option from the schools, you do not need to notify because you are using the schools. After you send in your notification, the superintendent has 14 calendar days to request in writing any information you may have neglected to provide. You do need to acknowledge if they ask, but you do not need to give anything other than what's required. After those 14 calendar days, they can't ask for anything else, and it is their responsibility to send you an excusal, but they do not have a deadline to send the excusal. If you haven't received it within a month of when they received your notification, you'll want to follow up and get the excusal from them. This is what the notification of intent to homeschool looks like. This one was put out by Ohio homeschooling parents. You can use it. You can use one from CHIO or one from HSLDA. They are all perfectly aligned to Ohio law. If you get one from a school district or from the Ohio Department of Education website, they include information that's not correct, and they omit things like optional name or email and phone number, things like that. So please use the forms from either Ohio Homeschooling Parents, CHIO, or HSLDA. It makes it so much easier. This is the first page, and you're going to notify for the school year that you're asking for. You're going to include parents' names and address, either one or both parents. It's up to you. It has a space for an optional email address and phone number. Please don't add that in. All that would do is give the schools the means to contact you, email, text, or calling, and they have no business to, they have no need to. So don't include that. Number 3 is information for name and address for if someone else is going to be responsible for education. This does not mean a tutor or a co-op teacher or a science teacher you might outsource something to. It does not mean you have to include anything like an outschool class or even a college information if your child is doing College Credit Plus. This is only if you are not the responsible person for educating your child. Almost always you're going to leave this one blank. Okay, if you have any questions, please ask. The full name and birth date of your children to be educated at home. This is for the compulsory educating children's ages only. So if you have preschoolers, if you have 5-year-old, whatever, you don't let them on here. Only the ones between ages 6 and 18 who need to be excused from school are going to be the ones who go on here. The second page is pretty much blank. What this is doing is giving your assurance of a lot of information. The first thing you're going to be doing is assuring that you will be teaching all the subjects that are required. The number 6 is a brief outline of intended curriculum, and number 7 is a list of textbooks or other curriculum that you're going to be using. Both 6 and 7 are for informational purposes only. We'll get to that on the next page, well, in a couple pages. But you just want to check that these are true. Number 8 is the assurance that your child will be provided with a minimum of 900 hours of home education in the school year. We do not have to take attendance. We do not have to count hours. 900 hours of home education is more than the time that your child is awake, so you do not have to worry about proving this. You just give the assurance that you'll do it. Number 9 is the assurance that states that either you have a high school diploma or equivalency, or that you are being mentored by someone who has a college degree. Again, you're just providing assurance. You're just checking the box that you have one of these. You do not need to specify which category you're under. If you do need somebody to supervise you or mentor you, let us know, and somebody will be happy to help and agree that they're watching you. And number 10 is just signing that you are affirming all of the above. This bold section right here is what keeps you out of data mining. School districts like to collect information, and this says, you know, we're not part of your school district. We don't need you to keep our information. You're going to sign and date, and that's all you need to do on this. You're not your first year notifying, but your subsequent years, you provide some sort of an academic assessment. And all this is right at the bottom right here is letting you know what that assessment is. You don't need to attach anything to this form. This year, the Ohio, House approved a legislation to waive the assessment for this year. So we did not need to do any sort of assessment if you are coming into this for not your first year. This form is from CHIO. If you would like to enclose it, you can. You do not have to. And this just says that because of the pandemic and this House bill, we do not need to provide an assessment. Okay, this is, let's see, this one's mine. This is what the addendum for number 6 and 7 looks like. This example is from Ohio Homeschool Parents. This is number 4 on their example. It's for traditional curriculum. There is one, number 5, I believe, for unschooling. It's more of a paragraph form, but this is very simple to use. And again, it's for informational purposes only. So nobody is ever going to check and make sure that you bought the curriculum or used it. You have the full ability to change curriculum at any point. So this is just mostly for their information that you've done some research. What this is number 6 is the brief outline of curriculum for the year. And this includes the basic subjects and then kind of what you're going to be covering through those. Science for this example is reading, experiments, and accompanying work in botany. Math, just various instruction at their level. Art, again, going along with things. The most important part of this is this section right here. And it says that anything that's not specifically listed up here is going to be covered through things like internet, library, real life resources. So if you're not listing up here that you were exactly what you're planning to cover for something like fire safety, it's covered by this paragraph. Usually if the schools come back and say, hey, you didn't include this, it's covered in this paragraph. They just didn't bother reading. Number 7 is a list of textbooks, curriculum, other teaching materials that you might use. Again, this is for informational purposes only. This is where you put down the types of textbooks you're using. Easy Peasy is an easy program that a lot of people tend to use. You're going to want to, if you're using it, you want to include the different subjects that it covers, not just say Easy Peasy. School people don't know what that is, so you want to say we're using this for math and science and English and all that. So you just want to include those basic subjects that you're covering. This is mine for my son is sophomore. So this is what we're doing. For number 6, I listed we're doing history, U.S. history, we're doing American literature, we're doing biology, algebra, German. Again, we have that paragraph of extra stuff that's not listed. It's covered that way. And then this is the textbooks that we're using. Our science, our algebra. We included groups that we're in here. And then other resources that we'll use. And this is all you need. Please don't include anything like an outline of the table of contents for your textbooks. You don't need all that. Just the very basics, the books, and a little bit of plans of what you're doing. Okay. Your notification will be sent to your local school district superintendent. It doesn't matter if you have used open enrollment to another district, or if you've used an e-school or a private school or anything like that. You notify the district superintendent for where you live. Some districts will try to get you to send your notification to an ESC, which is an educational service center. That's not where you send it. You send it to the superintendent. The superintendent will often pass it to an ESC to handle the paperwork, but that's their business, not yours. You send it to the superintendent. When you go to the post office, it's going to cost you with stamps for your envelope about $6.95. And what you're going to do is you're going to send it certified. That's this bottom one. And return receipt, which is this top form. The return receipt gets attached to the back side of your envelope. They'll help you with that at the post office. The barcode part of this, the certified, gets attached to your envelope, and you get the extra form to keep, and it has your tracking number so that you can follow and find out where everything is. When the schools receive your information, somebody in the office, it doesn't have to be the superintendent, somebody will sign for it, and this card will be sent back to you. When they sign for it, that's when the 14 days start. So keep your copy of the card when you get it back. Keep this, and that shows that you are properly notified. Again, you want to do it certified with return receipt. This gives you the paper trail and shows when that 14 days starts. So in case they try to ask anything later, you'll know when they actually got it. After that 14 days, as I said, they have the responsibility to have the superintendent send you a letter. This was from North Ridgeville Schools. And what this is your excusal. A lot of districts have poor wording. It's a form letter. They send it every year. And no matter how often we complain, there's usually something wrong with it. This one is reviewing my request for permission. Again, we don't ask permission. We just tell them. But this sentence right down here, Samuel is excused from school attendance for the school year. That's what you want, and you want it signed by the superintendent. You'll get this anywhere from, if you're lucky, a week after they receive it. Sometimes we have to go back and bug them for details and to send it. But you are excused, and this is the form that says, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. If you have any questions, please let us know. And we are looking forward to seeing all of your notifications and your excusal letters when they get sent to you. Thank you.